only way to complete self-knowledge is to go to Him. And in time, over time, in proportion to what is good for you, He will begin to lay you bare. And you will begin to gain some measure of self-understanding. And in heaven, it will be complete, and you will be completely purified, so you won't be as devastated as you would be if you knew yourself completely here. He knows what we can handle. And it is glorious to know that we are known by one who can help us know ourselves. It also implies that there is one person who, knowing everything about us, loves us. This may be the sweetest of all. Let me give you just a little snapshot into Peter. Do you think it mattered to Peter that Jesus knew him? Let me read you something that you may not have thought about in this regard. You know, he denied the Lord 3 times. This devastated Peter. He wept bitterly. I don't think he ever quite recovered from this. And you can see Jesus trying to help him recover, just like Jesus is willing to help you recover from horrible things that you've done. They're not easy, but He's willing. So it was after the resurrection. They were sitting by the fire. You remember, it's the last chapter of the Gospel of John. And Jesus looks at him and He says, Peter, do you love me? And Peter doesn't just say yes. He says, yes, Lord, you know that I love you. And then Jesus, because he denied him 3 times, is going to give him a chance to affirm it 3 times. He asks him again, Peter, do you love me? And Peter says the second time, yes, Lord, you know that I love you. The third time, the Lord asks him, do you love me? And he says, he ups the ante. Peter says, Lord, you know everything. You know that I love you. Jesus knows your heart. Whether there's love there, faith there, or not. And so we move to this last implication of being loved by one who knows everything about us. He is willing to love you, knowing everything about you. Now, the reason I say He's willing to love you, that may sound like an odd way to say it to you, is because Jesus doesn't love everybody the same way. And the way He loves His sheep and His disciples and His children is different from the way He loves those who reject Him. Listen to John 17:9. This is the way Jesus prays for His own people. John 17:9. I am praying for them. I am not praying for the world, but for those whom you have given me out of the world, and they are yours. So that's who He's praying for. That's a love that He doesn't have for the world. It's called, you could call it intercessory love. Jesus today is in heaven interceding for you. He intercedes for you. He bought this intercession on the cross, and He applies His own blood before the Father, interceding for you to see to it that you will make it to the end, which is what He said He did for Peter, just as Peter denied Him. Do you remember that? I have prayed for you, Peter, that your faith may not fail. And when you have turned, not if you have turned, when you have turned, strengthen your brothers. I know you're going down. I know you're coming up because I've prayed for you that your going down would not be a staying down. That's the authority of the prayer of Jesus for His own. He did not pray that for Judas. If he had, Judas would be in heaven. And he isn't. To all who received him, who believed in his name, he gave the right to become the children of God. If you receive him, you are a child of God, and he loves you as one of his brethren, brothers and sisters, and he knows everything about you. If you will have it, in other words, if in this moment of preaching, God would open your eyes and grant you to fly to Jesus for the renouncing of all your self-reliance and all your sin and all your relativistic efforts to be everything to everybody and claim Jesus Christ as Savior and Lord and treasure of your life, there would be one forever who knows everything about you and loves you infinitely. And that's good news. To be known to the bottom of your being. I mean, isn't it scary to you that you might wonder if all your relationships are contingent on whether people don't know certain things about you? And so you tremblingly walk through life hiding yourself from one relationship to the other, because if you do say certain things, this might ruin the relationship. Isn't it sweet to know that if that happened to everybody in your life, it wouldn't happen to Jesus? That's a rock I live on. If my wife unthinkably turned on me, and the church turned on me, and everybody said, if we knew that, you'd have never been the pastor of this church, or blah, 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 where would I go? I would go to him. Where would you go? So we can say that here Jesus is troubling us in John 2:23 with his knowledge of our faith. So I'm done with point one. Point one was to try to display the glory of Jesus as the knower of all things about all people, and to bring it home and make it personal to you so that it would be sweet, at least to those of you who are willing to have it as sweet and not be terrified by it. Now, there's one other point, and it has to do with the implication of his knowledge of us, namely, he's looking into your heart right now, and he's seeing absolute reality. He knows exactly what he's seeing. And he knows far better than you what's there. So now you need to listen carefully to see whether or not what's revealed here is what might be revealed in you. I hope not. Verse 23 says, many believed in his name. See that in the middle? Chapter 2, verse 23. Many believed in his name when they saw the signs that he was doing. Now, wouldn't Jesus be thrilled? I mean, that's the point of the book. That's the point of the life. That's the point of everything. Faith. And he's not excited about what he sees in this faith. In fact, he doesn't like it at all. Verse 24, but Jesus on his part did not entrust himself to them because he knew all people. So he must have known something that he didn't like. Otherwise he would, you're mine, you're my sheep, you're my disciples, you're my brothers, I give myself to you, you give yourself to me, we're one, vine and branch. Not here. What did he see? What's wrong? What's wrong with the faith in verse 23? This book is written that you may believe, and believing have life in his name. And it says they were believing when they saw the signs that he was doing, and he wouldn't